you're in the middle of the preparation of one of the largest artistic activities you ever did in your life, I think, right?
Right.
And it's happening in 2 days. So I'm so excited. I would like to use the time. I'm thankful that you, in the name of the Ludwigsburg Festival, I want just to say that I'm so grateful that you gave us that in our book from 2020. Remember, I asked you a couple of questions, like all the artists. Where do you stand? What moves you? And where are we going? And your answers were terrific. I could ask the same question to you today. Look, in the middle of a COVID pandemic, where are we right now? Especially, where are you now standing? Like this very moment, where are you now?
I'm in the office of the ranch, which is my studio in Arizona by the border, and it's my childhood house where we grew up, and I restored it and turned it into a fantastic studio. And in the video clip that you see from the post takes you to, there's a clip and you can see my new studio. I built a new studio specifically for the project. So literally in 5 minutes, if you were visiting me, we could go to the border wall in a car.
So you're really, that's where you grew up. You were born in the US, but you were growing up like having Mexico just in front of you. So you were like living your childhood between the two worlds, so to say, and you could also cross the border at that time more easy.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's right. And as an Irish Mexican of Irish Mexican descent, I had, of course, friends on both sides of the border, and I sort of was always a moderator somehow in the middle, Mm. So I would break up fights, I would hook up relationships.
Really? So you were kind of a mediator.
Was mediator, yeah, that's right. And so, but what's fantastic, in the evening, you see the border lights from here. There's a row of lights on the border. And what's interesting, Johan, I think is community leaders we were working with for years. And then finally, we managed to have a meeting with the Border Patrol. And there was hardly any resistance at all because I am from this area. Mm-hmm. So I came back to the home roots and I was able to do this first action on the border exactly from where I'm from. So it's
so they trust you. They trust you. I think that's very crucial.
They trust me, and we had a yes, we'll follow their rules, but yet they're amazed by the project and that I'm from this area, and that my story is about watching the evolution of this wall from a fence, just a chain link fence with a big hole in it where the kids came through the border to this fortified barrier. And anyways, that's where it stands.
Can you give us a little insight how long that took, like the development from I'm sitting here in the nature on the parking lot and I can see a fence. You can almost not see it over there. There's also a little fence. Maybe it started all with something very simple and it became more and more solid until the most extreme, where Donald Trump was about announcing to build a kind of a wall like the Chinese wall or the Berlin Wall or whatever. I mean, this element here in our book, where we can see also we come to that in a minute, but this is a segment of an existing part of the wall between the border between US and Mexico that you somehow took as a reference point, right?
That's correct. And so one point they were removing the wall that was from first President Bush's era, made with recycled material. It was made with landing mats from the Vietnam War. I got word that this was happening, so I went there with a trailer and I directed them. I said, put it on top of my trailer, and they did. And I took off, brought it to my atelier in my ranch, and I reassembled it. Great. And so it served as my testing grounds. So today, that wall is much shorter, and so we extended it with a rope so we could test our border crosser going over yet a higher barrier. And so the irony is the performance will take place going over the 18.5 feet tall wall And behind it is a 10-meter wall, a 30-foot wall that never got finished because the Trump era was over. And so in the performance, the audience on the American side will be between two walls. And there's a bit of an irony to that. You understand what I mean? They're between the two walls, and we go over the second wall, but the first wall is 30 feet tall. And I had prepared two border crossers to scale the 30-foot wall. For this performance, we'll use our smaller border crossers, which one of them was made in Vienna, and the other one was made in Brooklyn. So each border crosser has a name in relation to where it was made, and each one was made.
How do you call them? Your border? You have in total you have 4 border crossers, and this time
there's five actually, and so the 6th one we'll make with students from El Paso and Juarez. And that'll be in this August. We manufacture the last one with them, and perhaps that one's a river crosser. We'll make it float down the river so it crosses the border from the river, from the water. So that's the 6th one. One of them is Ann Arbor. One of them is Vienna. One of them is Brooklyn. One of them is one of them's Bisbee. So they're just related to where the most of the work was put in, and so it's in New Jersey, right?
Since when? I mean, the second question that we always ask is what moves our artist? What is the driving force, the urgency to do certain things? And maybe you can give us a little insight, Chico. You as an artist who, since I know you, I met you in the 90s in Berlin at Tacheles when you were building the Tumbling Man. So you were really in interactive robot mechanics like Mensch-Maschine, human being and machinery. But something has triggered that you started to work on that border crossers, which have a function, of course, to connect. And I see a symbol in a time where we all are talk about separation of people, social distancing, building walls between nations. You come up with an idea, with an artistic proposal. So can you tell us what moves you? What is the...
Well, I'm going to take you to my studio. I think I can not lose you. I'm going to take you to the studio and show you some drawings, okay?
Yes, absolutely. Great idea.
So this one, this is in the office. You see that? This is the drawing. You see that?
Yes, I can see it very well.
Yeah, there's 4 divisions here, Jochen. In the back is Mexico. To the right is the devastation of the hurricane on Puerto Rico. On the bottom is the massive pollution in the ocean from the plastic patch. And on the left is the future city built by billionaires within a fence within a fence. So this drawing comes after these. Let me show you these others. So I'm walking you through the house. This is the first one. And this one, this is the vision. Okay, so this is the first border crossing drawing, and that's made from the fence, the original fence when the project started, already 10 years ago, thinking about it.
Hi, Luis. Hi, Luis.
So you see something close to what I'm trying to do with the work.
Yes.
So there's a single fence. And as the times have gone on, Jochen, my thoughts have shifted because there was a single barrier, but in fact, there was more than a single barrier. This is the second drawing. So this is the wall becoming a wedge. And so there's 1, 2, 3 divisions. The one I just showed you was 4 divisions. So basically what happened for me during COVID, I began to make these drawings where there was multiple divisions, and these multiple divisions were about everything that was tearing humanity apart and separating it in these border barriers, you see. So if you look at some of the text and then the negative space is representational of the internet and of COVID, both. Everything is connected with the internet and with COVID. So if you look at the text in these, it's quite devastating, and it's quite real about what's actually happening. So here's more of them. So these drawings will be in my show in El Paso that opens in September. And all of them are dealing with ancient things that we never understood, contemporary things that we are looking at, the problems we're facing, possibly solutions. But there's, if you look at this, children concentration camps, burial sites blown, Arctic fires, loss of trust, lack of white ice, Chinese Texas, protect the elders, falling doctors, those kinds of things. And then let me take you to there's more of these drawings, of course. And
Thank
this
you,
is
Chico.
my,
It's very strong that you show us this paintings, these drawings.
These are storyboards. But let me take you to the, these were the first. This was the very first drawing. This is when COVID began. You see? Can you see it,
Yes.
Jochen?
Yes, I see it.
Okay, then it evolved, and this was the second one, the third one, the fourth one. So this was all
also
happening.
that was also under the impression of Black Lives Matter, the whole situation we were facing. I mean, the whole world was tumbling about that, right?
Yeah, I think, well, it was there. It was everything, certainly including that. Here's my other atelier, and then this is now this is a very large scale version of what you saw.
Mm.
You see?
Yes.
And then they continue.
So you're using also the words that Trump used to say, the flood of children, like all these kind of words that negative words that were used. I mean, the prisons that were built were kids or were captured, right?
Absolutely. And so, for instance, you close in closer, and then here's like U.S. wars displace 37 million around the world. This is a real key thing. 666 migrant children. Now there's 5,000 or more, right? And then, birds falling out of the skies, end femicides, cellular landscape, saliva sample, high rate of hysterectomies, pigs bitten by bats. It goes on and on and on and on, and they all interconnect, and you can look at them in different ways, but these are perhaps, and then here's how they start, Jochen. So there's two more that are started on these large scale.
It's very apocalyptic, Chico. My God.
I just wanted to show you those because since I was saying, Jochen, it doesn't look like I can come there because of all the restrictions, and then of course the world completely freaks out. So what happens to me is I'm going to take you one more trip here. When you come here for your vacation, you and Sasha, this is the kitchen. This is my lovely wife, Louise.
Hi, Louise.
This is the kitchen.
Beautiful.
And this is Booney's drawings. But I'm going to walk you outside here because we came here. And what I did is I decided, so this is sort of the wonderland for my child, right? This is Booney's Wonderland. And so we built this, and this is shade and the trees. And then, so I decided I had to complete the project, I really needed a way to work on it. And so I built this.
This is your studio.
Yeah. And you probably saw that, but.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it in the film.
Okay. So I'm just going to take you in there because the moment we're conducting some last tests, but so there's Jasper. And
Hi, Jasper.
Jonathan. Jasper's he's from up in New York, and
hello, how you doing? My God.
Jonathan's from Mexico, and he's
what is that?
Yeah, and then here's our testing area. And so here we have in this room our 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 border crossers. There's 4 border crossers in here. And it's a perfect facility to complete the work. I'll take you back inside so I don't lose
Yeah.
lose you. Well, let me take you real quickly. I don't know how far I can do it. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm very impressed. I mean, now I can see the part of the wall.
Yeah, there's the part of the wall, and here's the rest of my property. But this is where we were doing our testing.
Yeah.
And on the other side of the clouds is where the border station of the Border Patrol is. So, anyways, I just wanted to give you a feel of where we've been the last several months, and it put us into the opportunity. It put us into the opportunity to be close to Mexico. So, Jochen, this is Mexico. Look, do you see the mountain?
Yes, the mountain is Mexico, right?
That's Mexico. The mountain's Mexico. Yeah, and you can, if you can focus, you can even see the line of the fence there beyond the tree. Probably too hard with the camera, but anyways, that's so. While being absorbed in this work during COVID, it was very much about, to your question that I didn't answer. The answer is that, oh yeah, and here's the yet another one. This is the one that was in Germany at the Muffethalle. This is my father's old workshop when it was a ranch.
I think this is the border crosser that would have come to Ludwigsburg if we would have done it in 2020,
yes,
right?
That's right, yeah. And we sent it back, and it got really difficult to send the things, you know, it was crazy. And then we, the museum paid for a container and the transportation, but already transportation was crazy because nobody was working. It was shut down, you know?
Yeah.
So when you guys got me the work, it was perfect because if it would have been delayed any further, I might not have gotten it, you know, in time. So anyways.
Yeah, thanks for the little tour. Thank you, Chico. We got a real strong impression of where you are and what you are doing in the middle of preparation. So coming back to the question, when I see your drawings, I understand better what moves you, but you put it in your own words again.
Yeah, well, I think, well, just ask me the question one more time because I got lost in the tour.
Well, what?
Could you ask me the question?
The question is, what is like, what makes you do what you do? What moves you? What is the inner impulse? I mean, of course, when I see the drawings, I know you as a very humanistic artist. You want to connect people.
I lost you a second. Oh, there you go.
Well, my question was, maybe put in your own words why you're doing all this in facing all the negative, like when you saw your drawings, it's very apocalyptic.
Let me go back by the router. Yeah. The you know, my child moves me, my wife, just you know, humanity and what humanity is going through. That's what moves me, and I think the focus of this project has been a lot of years of focus, maybe more. You know, I think I developed the amorphic robots, all of the machines that toured around the world for over 15 years, and this has been a 5-year project. So, you know, once again, it's like figuring out what I wanted and learning how to make it and how to engineer it and get it to perform well. That's one aspect of it. But the whole time I was interested in you know, transcending this barrier, and as a means to move the spirit of the people through and create this unity of the spirit of the people. And if you look at it's not isolated to just Mexico anymore in America. From my point of view, it just happens to be my story, right? It's something that's occurring all over the world, and and the inequality of COVID is seen all over the world. And where United States is the most it's the most interesting because we're the earliest to be really vaccinated because of the money. And then at the same time, we have a higher percentage of resistance of people who want to get vaccinated. So we won't reach this herd immunity without the people who don't want to get vaccinated are the same people who followed Trump in the first place, let's say. And so, with other countries from Africa to Palestine to the places that just don't get access to it, that's talking about the same inequality thing. So the concern for like humanity and the indifference between like the extraordinarily rich are controlling everything, and especially and even like how the vaccine doesn't work and who you made the deal with and who's backing it. And so there's all those things in those drawings are talking about that. I'm not presenting a comment about anything in those drawings. I'm just trying to present everything, and you look at that and you choose. That's what the drawings
Now
are
you
about.
take real action this weekend on Sunday in 48 hours or something. What is going to happen, Chico, from your point of view? I mean, you managed to do something incredible. It's a little miracle that the border control admits in that time that you do something at this border, an artistic project that is highly symbolic. But tell us, what is going to happen exactly on Sunday? What can we expect there to happen?
Well, so we decided to one of our partners who introduced me to the Border Patrol in the first time, he's organized these border projects for years with music across the borders and things of this nature. I was trying to get him to help me for many years, and finally I said to him, listen, can you just introduce me to the Border Patrol agent? And can you just make a contact for me? And we made the contact, and they were very receptive. We don't necessarily know why they were so receptive, but they were. And I think it had to do partially with the times were changing, or maybe they didn't have the right to restrict us because we had the freedom, right? So I'm not sure. But so Pentecost became the day we chose. This man, he had been a former pastor, now he's an artist and an educator. But the symbols of Pentecost were quite interesting.
I agree with you.
Yeah, so we chose that. And then yesterday,
because it's about the spirit, right?
That's right.
The celebration of the spirit, the change of mind. It's about transformation. Pentecost is all about transformation.
Absolutely. So it's perfect. 2 days ago, we went to visit the pastor at the church my mother would take me to, the Catholic church in Naco, Sonora.
Yeah.
And he, of course, was a new pastor, a new father. And we showed him the video, and he was super psyched. And we said, we want to have this procession begin when your mass lets out.
So it's linked with the church. So the people come out of the church and you start a procession. Do I get it right?
You get it right, yeah. And the procession marches down the street and it heads to the border, and they gather at the border. And
how long will it be? How long is the pathway to go from the church to the
pathway? It's approximately 11 minutes. 11 minutes. And it's led by the robot. One of the robots, driven by the young man from Mexico.
Yeah.
He drives the robot, and they follow him. His people follow him and the machine to the border.
But the same thing that happens on the US side is happening also on the Mexican side, right? So there are two processions arriving right and then what is happening then? And who is in charge of the second team, so to say?
Well, so Luis is in charge of the American side, and I most likely will go to the Mexican side. And we have these people who have been working with us that'll drive the machines. Perhaps it's me that drives the machines. It's not clear, and it's enough of a complication to get this live feed going in the first place. There's so many challenges. There's no infrastructure there. So we had to work with a man to send us to try to broadcast to a disk Wi-Fi on the fence, and nothing's there.
It's
barren.
not going to satellite. It's going to.
No, it's not going to satellite. So it's a combination of this network, that network. We're trying to put something together that hasn't been so simple, but basically what happens is the machines arrive at the border, and we have help on the Mexican side, and we have two teams, and the teams are documenting, and the teams are running the machines. And on the American side, our friend is bringing a tremendous lift, and Louise will be on top of the lift documenting the American side from a very high vantage point.
Mm-hmm.
And
you're shooting with drones also? You have also drones?
We only are allowed drones in Mexico, which is interesting.
Really?
So we have a big lift in America, and we have drones in Mexico. And so we document it. How much of that will make it onto the live feed? We don't know at this point. It doesn't matter as long as something does. And so the machines basically grow, they unravel, and they move over the border, and then they unravel the second part, and they attempt to touch the ground, and then they come back. So I've been training two guys to run those machines, and the one who's doing better will be in America by himself, and so I'll be in Mexico in the event, that there's I don't know. I feel like I have this dialogue to attend to on the Mexican side. So if I'm just calling the show,
very short question: is it easy for you to travel between the two countries? You have to show your passport. How does it work?
Yeah, it's simple. You show your passport, and if you're walking, it's much easier than driving because your car has to be in. You have to get special. We have to get special permission on both sides and all this. So we go Saturday night, and we set up, and we go to we met somebody on the corner house by the border who happens to work on hot rods in Mexico. Works on hot rods, so he's letting us borrow his garage. So we take two border crossers, put it in his garage.
Great.
And then and then across the street is where the mayor lives, stuff like that.
How many people, how many local people will be involved in the activity or take part in the procession? How many people do you expect?
We plan a 7 o'clock activation where we don't expect very many people except the crew. And if that ends up being perhaps we don't know, we want to do it twice. It's like a dress rehearsal. And then we post the dress rehearsal immediately on the site.
Yeah.
And then we do the second one. And the second one, we expect a lot of people from Mexico, a lot, hundreds. And on the American side, perhaps 30, maybe 100.
Yeah. How's the media coverage? How is the U.S. media and the Mexican media?
Well, at the moment, the owner of the local paper, he sent his best reporter, and he's my friend. He's a sculptor, and he was recently sick with cancer, and he's still sending somebody. He loves the project. So at the moment, we didn't approach it with trying to get a big media hit, because we thought we might have to do it illegally without permission, right?
Yeah, so, I can imagine, of course.
The fact that we got permission is quite amazing.
You got it just a couple of days ago, right?
That's right. Yeah, and we were waiting for the signature. So we still don't know. We can't anticipate what will happen, if there will be problems or anything like that. So we're just going at it and trying to be as prepared as we can be in all ways. And then we go and do it. And then, but at the same time, Jochen, we're working on this film, So you have this, right?
Yeah. Show me.
That goes back that far.
But you are somewhere else right now with the film.
Yeah. So the film, we've with the promo video, you saw the quality of the film a little bit. The machines moving through the desert. So before we leave, we'll try to do a few more shoots. But in August, September, October, we'll really try to shoot all the parts of the film, and ultimately, if this happens and plays out correctly, it was completely unanticipated. But what's beautiful is the procession was a big part of the film.
Yeah.
And then a climactic moment when the film was how this on social media moves. How is this image going to move on social media once it takes takes, so our job is to try to get it out there in social media, and then after it happens, maybe it really takes off. That's part of the film, what that looks like on social media.
I love it. And you have the Ludwigsburg Festival behind you because we want to bring you, we want to show you film, we want to bring the border crossers to Ludwigsburg. And if you come for your family trip in June, please make sure that Luis and you will visit us. And then we can also discuss where in Ludwigsburg is the wall, because in every city is a wall. And,
Yeah.
The wall of the castle is also a wall. I mean, it's also like dividing the city. There's the biggest wall in Ludwigsburg is actually a street. It's the Schlossstraße. It's a street that is a lot of cars drive every day. It's a B27, and this is dividing the area where is the castle from the other part of the city. My dream was always how to connect this and how to make but we can work things out when you come. But I don't want to distract you too much from your work.
Yeah.
What time is it now? You have now
it's
11 or something?
It's now 11. And we're trying to get some tests done in the studio. A full house tomorrow. It'll be great.
I would love to be there. I mean, I feel like I'm almost there. It's almost like you would sit across on the same table, It's
you guys when you guys need that vacation, and after COVID is over, you guys should come and take a really relaxing desert vacation. And if we're here or not, you can come and just spend it here, because there's really wonderful places. So some of those wonderful places will make it into the film. And one last thing, I remember what I was going to say. So one of our partners, the Beep collection out of Madrid, Vicente Materlana runs La Agencia as well. So he's getting the word out, but we're supposed to I don't know, kind of complete one of these border crossers for Spain. This has been in the plan the whole time, but he's trying to figure out how to do it, blah, 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 blah. Because
for permanent collection, it's for a permanent collection, right?
Yeah. They funded the making of one, but basically what it did is it was a really important piece of money at that time. And so I don't know which one that is, and if we'll make a new one for him, because he was interested in the continuation of my process, which is you bring a bunch of young people, you turn them onto this, and then we build one and we do the action, Great. So that's kind of the way it's worked with all of them. So just like the El Paso students working with me.
You always work with students, right? That's very important.
Well, the 20 somethings, they're on the verge of technically being able to making breakthroughs, and so their energy level is much higher if you can do good things with it, So like I'm still 20, except the body gives out after, 16 hours, slows down, So
my God, there are so many other questions I would love to ask you. I remember the conversation we had after 9/11, because your studio was right close to the towers, and you told me that things were the fallout was in your backyard, right? That's before you went. That was, and then you moved to San Francisco, and then you came back to Red Hook, right?
No. I went from the studio in Red Hook, where the garbage came, to another part of Red Hook where I have the church. So the church became my studio for 20 years now.
Yeah. Tell me, Chico, as you know, at the moment, Brad is a resident artist in Ludwigsburg. Do you remember when you met him first, Brad Wang?
He was my student.
That's why I ask.
Yeah, so he was my student in Paul McCarthy's class. I mean, he was me and Paul. I was Paul's assistant teacher, and so Brad was, he was always up to, he was always up to something really, I would say challenging, right? And we were our job was to support him, so we encouraged him, we just like, yeah, this sounds crazy, go for it. Let's,
You know what he's doing right now? He's building a loom, and the loom is also connecting people through distance. it's a Umarmungsmaschine. So it's like you can hug each other with a distance. I can send you some pictures about it. It's not a machine, but it's something that connects people. And it's very much in the same spirit like the border crossers, because all his work is about creating a social environment where people would meet. And I feel the same with your work, actually, and especially with the border crossers, actually.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope he gets a chance to see it. We saw him already so many years ago now. Well, 6 years ago was the last time we saw him, or something. And we saw when he was still in the boat, and we got to meet. Oh yeah, we got to meet his two daughters, but Booney
Lucy and Joy.
Yeah. So the two daughters were there, and his wife, and then
Ellie is his wife.
Ellie.
And Lucy and Joy are the two daughters, right?
Yeah, and our daughter was checking out the playhouse. She was super duper small. The playhouse he had made for his daughters, and I think that's like that ability that we share that in common, that we try to make everything for the children, and then that gives the children so much more,
I think I don't want to judge your work because I'm just fascinating, and I did you get me? I always come a little bit a child myself when I watch your work. So I feel like there's this playfulness, there's something happening. And the robots or the machines that you build, they become like beings. I mean, not human beings, but some kind of beings, right?
Yeah, I think my daughter being next to me, it's so well. It's just been going on for her whole life so far, and she
doesn't know anything else.
She calls them the elephant trees. They're elephant trees, right? So it's a beautiful metaphor. It's two metaphors in one, because of the truncation. It's a tree, and so that's like, so she's such a big part of it, and if she runs in the middle of it, it's all part of it, right? So
I see.
The children freak out the way the audience should, so the children will run towards it and they'll want to touch it, and you know what? It's what it's supposed to do, and the children are the ones that inform our work. Really, they're the ones that are purist. So, I anticipate on the Mexican side of the border, the children will come running towards this thing as it goes over the border. So, and that's kind of pretty beautiful, because they're anticipating a life in the future of their own.
Now, this is the utopian momentum, and that would be our third question that we always ask: where are we going?
Yeah.
I mean,
hey,
what do you think?
You're such a great personality. We should post this interview too on our YouTube channel and add it. Are you recording this?
The whole conversation.
Oh, send it back to us, and then we'll put it.
We'll
also put, because you always ask such great questions, and then we did a little bit of tour of the drawings, which is cool, because there's this kind of classic aspect. Nobody really anticipates this robot maker having this classic approach, but for me, always drawing is such an important thing, right? You can imagine, well, the way it comes, I imagine in a drawing, I imagine 5 years of work that it takes me to build, So the drawing is super important in that way. So
do you remember what you asked me to the third question when I asked you, where are we going? Shall I read it for you? Do you remember, or you
No, go ahead and I don't necessarily remember, but.
Well, you said to me, to that question, I feel that the world is stuck in an existential crisis. We have to solve a lot of problems, and I need to find radical ways to do so. We need to pull down those borders. Like tear down this wall. You remember, that is a famous saying, tear down this wall.
Right.
At the Berlin Wall, yeah. First of all, we need to bring in renewable energy to save our planet from the after effects of the atmospheric buildup of carbon. We really need to start to be human again, in a long tradition of being human, and we have to move away from the destruction of our planet. I don't think Mars is the solution. That's what you said.
All right.
And here we go. Mars. I mean, you are such a technological. Do you want to add something? I mean, to that what you said?
I think it's still pretty, I'm amazed. I like it. And you read it really nicely, but no, I think what's happening is we're stuck in this moment that becomes very clear during COVID in particular. We can save our planet, or the extreme money that's way over here can be used for flights for the rich people to go to other planets. I mean, and not be able, and spend tremendous amounts of money so that they can live on another planet to escape here. They're already on another planet because they can filter their air. They can do anything. If you're a billionaire, you have this ability to do it.
They live on the same planet, but they are, I like that image, they are like on another planet. It's right.
They're on another planet.
This is in fact
isolated and protected.
I think this comes almost to a conclusion of our conversation, because that's the border in our heads, and it's real borders, but separating people from each other also through money, to that two planets that you speak about. And I think it's right what you say. Your border crossers are trying to reconnect what is separated, right? And from a Berlin point of view, the city where I live since 30 years, and I came also because the wall came down, fascinated by the whole transformation a society can go through when a peaceful momentum arrives, where people say we have the power, we are getting rid of what separates each other from it. But the world is now in a march on a much larger scale into that crisis that you describe. So, and I want to thank you a lot, Chico. I'm gonna send you this interview.
Please. I had one image that was interesting. So I met you in after the wall came down, and it was such a raw and beautiful space. I met so many interesting people, and you could do so many things.
I mean, the Tacheles.
Yeah, Tacheles, and with meeting Bastian Mares, and then all the creative people, from the Dead Chickens to all these different people. And I was just thinking that image. I was just placing the Berlin Wall here, right?
Yeah.
If you took down the wall right now, the wall that separates America, what you could do is you could build housing with that material to house all the homeless people, to house all the refugees. And then what you'd have is a more fair sort of unity of employment. The people from on that side of the wall come and work for us illegally, so we can take advantage of them, and they do all of our labor. They created all our food during COVID. They were the brave ones.
Yes,
people from Mexico, people from Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, wherever. And so now if you took the wall down and you use that as raw material, you could build a fortress to house all the people who are homeless, who are our Vietnam veterans who have gone to these wars, who are tortured souls. They're tortured souls. And they're making all these refugees who are coming to our country. So use the wall, build housing with the wall, house all these people. They'll work freer. The pay will be easier for everybody. And they live here anyways.
Yeah.
Right? And so if there's no wall, you return it to the way it was when my ranch was Mexico. My ranch was Mexico. Texas was Mexico. California was Mexico. It's Mexico again in terms of populations anyways.
I could see Luis at the door looking if you are about to finish.
How crazy I am?
Yeah.
Okay.
The most important is that you focus now on the next preparations, and I will watching and give you. The whole world is watching. Everybody who's online.
So great.
With you.
Great feeling.
Okay.
Take care.
Now you have a
See you
safe
soon
trip.
again.
Safe trip.
Bye.
We'll see
Thank
you
you.
soon. Bye-bye.
And safe trip for you.